So I've been looking at all the iPhone 17e rumors and everyone's doing the same video. Oh, it has dynamic island now, MagSafe is back, still $599, cool, got it. But nobody's asking the obvious question, why does this phone even exist? Because look, Apple just released the iPhone 17 in September, it's incredible, best value iPhone they've made in years. And now, 4 months later, they're releasing a worse version of it for $200 less. That made zero sense to me until I started digging into Apple's release schedule for 2026 and I realized something. This phone isn't competing with the iPhone 17, it's replacing something else entirely. And once you understand what Apple's actually doing here, the 17e goes from random budget phone to actually kind of important. Let me explain. Okay, so fun fact, there's probably not going to be an iPhone 18 this fall. Not the Pro models, those are still coming in September, but the regular iPhone 18. Apple's apparently delaying it until spring 2027, which means from February 2026 when the 17e launches, all the way until probably March or April 2027. If you want a new mid-range iPhone from Apple, the 17e is it, that is over a year. Where this is the newest thing you can buy under $800, compare that to the iPhone 16e, that phone launched in February 2025, and 7 months later the iPhone 17 came out and made it look instantly outdated. The 16e had the world's shortest new phone lifespan, but the 17e, it gets to be the current model for way longer. No iPhone 17 seconds coming to replace it, no iPhone 18 making it look old. And I think that changes how we should think about this phone. It's not just the budget option while you wait for something better. For a lot of people, this is the something better. Alright, specs, but I'm not just going to list them. I want to talk about what these actually mean day to day. Dynamic island, no more notch from the iPhone 14. Finally, does this matter? Kind of. The notch looked dated. The dynamic island at least looks modern, and those little animations for timers and music controls are legitimately useful. I use them constantly when cooking. MagSafe is back. This is the big one for me. The 16e not having MagSafe was bizarre. Apple literally created the standard, put it in every iPhone since 2020, made it open source through Key 2, and then just skipped it on the 16e for no reason. 17e fixes that, you get the magnetic ring, MagSafe accessories actually work, and wireless charging should jump from 7.5W to somewhere between 20-25W, that's almost triple the speed. A 18 chip, maybe a 19, this is where it gets fuzzy. Some leaks say a 18 from the iPhone 16. Now what are you giving up versus the iPhone 17? 60Hz display, no promotion. If you've never had 120Hz, you won't care. If you have, yeah, scrolling will feel less smooth. I notice it immediately when I switch between phones. Single camera, just 148MP lens on the back, no ultra-wide, no telephoto. So if you want wide landscape shots or optical zoom, you're out of luck. For regular photos though, totally fine. Smaller screen, 6.1 inches instead of 6.3. Honestly prefer smaller phones, but that's personal preference. No always on display. Screen goes black when locked. Again, only matters if you're used to having it. So here's what I keep coming back to. How is this still $599? Memory prices are insane right now. RAM is up like 230%. Samsung's next phone is rumored to cost $100 more. Google raised Pixel prices. Everything's getting more expensive, but Apple's keeping this at $599. How? I think it comes down to parts recycling, and I don't mean that as an insult. This is actually smart. They're using BOO LED panels. These are the cheaper Chinese-made screens. Same ones from the iPhone 14. They've been manufacturing these 4 years at scale, so the cost is low. The C1 modem, that's Apple's own design instead of Qualcomm's, that alone saves them like $10 per phone. Multiply that by millions of units and it's huge savings. The chassis is basically the iPhone 15 body. No new tooling, no new assembly lines, no R&D costs. They are taking proven components that they already make in volume and repackaging them with just enough new features, dynamic island, MagSafe, to make it feel current. It's like building a gaming PC with last year's graphics card instead of the brand new one. You get 85% of the performance for half the price. But here's where I'm conflicted. The iPhone 17 at $799 is so good that I am not sure who should actually buy the 17e. For $200 more, you get 120Hz promotion, 2 cameras instead of 1, bigger brighter display, better battery, 256GB storage instead of 128GB. That's a lot of value for $200. So when does the 17e actually make sense? If you're coming from an iPhone SE, iPhone 11, iPhone 12, Or iPhone 13, phones that never had 120Hz or multiple cameras. You're not going to miss features you never had. The 17e will feel like a massive upgrade if you're buying for a kid, or you just need the cheapest way into the ecosystem because you have AirPods and an Apple Watch and switching to Android sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, 17e works, but if you can stretch to $799 and you plan to keep this phone for 4+ years, the iPhone 17 is objectively better value. I'm not saying don't buy the 17e. I'm saying be honest about what you actually need. Here's my theory on why this phone exists. The iPhone 17 is selling too well. It's the most popular model in the lineup by far, and part of the reason is Apple gave it so many Pro features that people are like, why would I spend $300 more for the Pro? That's a problem for Apple. They need to protect the Pro's positioning as the premium option. So what do? You create a clear bottom tier. If budget shoppers go to the 17e and mainstream buyers go to the 17, that protects the iPhone 17e's spot as the sweet spot phone, which makes the Pro look more appealing to people who want the absolute best. It's product segmentation, and honestly, knowing that you can use it to your advantage, Apple needs the 17e to succeed this year, which means they're not going to half-ass it. The phone has to be good enough that people choose it over Android at that price point, and with no iPhone 18 base model until 2027. This phone is carrying the budget lineup for over a year. They can't afford for it to suck. Quick comparison, Pixel 10 is $699. Better cameras, better AI, but Google's long-term software support is questionable compared to Apple's. Also weaker chip, Galaxy S25 FE will probably be 700750. Great display, tons of features, but Samsung's software is bloated and their trade-in values are garbage. Compared to iPhones, nothing phone 3 is cheaper and looks cool, but let's be real. If you already have AirPods, an Apple Watch, and all your photos in iCloud, switching to Android is a pain you're probably not willing to deal with. The 17e isn't the best $599 phone, but it's the best iPhone at that price, and if you're already in the ecosystem, that matters. So here's where I land on this. The iPhone 17e is not exciting, it's not groundbreaking, it's not going to make headlines. But because of Apple's weird staggered release schedule, it's kind of accidentally important. It's the only new affordable iPhone for over a year. It fixes the 16e's biggest mistakes, and Apple's supply chain efficiency means they can keep it at $599 without cutting corners where it counts. Is it the right phone for you? Maybe not. The iPhone 17 at $799 is genuinely a better deal if you can afford it, but if you're on a budget, upgrading from an older phone, or just want something that'll last for 5 years without breaking the bank, the 17e is probably the smartest choice, and that's the story everyone else is missing. Let me know in the comments, would you actually buy this, or are you waiting for the iPhone 18? Because honestly, I can't decide if this is brilliant or just weird. Thanks for watching.